Today was strange to wake up to the first day without our much-loved and hugely respected Queen Elizabeth II. There is a sense of personal loss as well as shock. Somehow her long years of service, commitment and duty felt as if they would never come to an end. As one of the older members of my family told me just this morning, things changed so much in her and our lifetime, and sometimes we feel hopelessly out of date and rather uncomfortable. She was our figurehead, and for that we are truly grateful. The Queen's reign was somehow timeless. Listening back this morning to her first televised Christmas broadcast in 1957, and then to her broadcast to the nation during COVID, Queen Elizabeth II proved continuity right from the post-war years through 15 different prime ministers, from Sir Winston Churchill to my right honourable friend, the member for South West Norfolk, and to the extraordinary, heartwarming royal digital performances with James Bond and with Paddington Bear. For me, her handbag will now always contain a marmalade sandwich. I always remember being sworn in as a Privy Councillor. It was the same day as my right honourable friend, the member for Uxbridge, and we were given the usual briefing on how you kneel on a footstool with your right hand by your side, your left hand holding a Bible, and my right honourable friend and I looked at each other and we were like, what if you fall off your footstool? And we were told very straight-faced, don't worry, the Queen will find it very amusing, which we didn't find reassuring, but luckily it didn't happen. As Lord President of the Council during the hung Parliament of 2017 to 2019, I had the honour of regular audiences with the Queen ahead of Privy Council meetings. On those occasions, I was always struck by the warmth of the welcome and the frankness of the conversation. The Queen was always interested to hear updates on the progress of legislation and the mood of the House. She was very well informed and also quite challenging at a time of extraordinary events, from Brexit to Donald Trump's visit to behaviour scandals here in Westminster. Once a year, the leaders of the Commons and Lords would be invited to Windsor Castle for lunch with the Queen and Prince Philip. These occasions felt quite overwhelming, but at the same time, after a pre-lunch drink in the sitting room and getting into a conversation about how well the restoration of Windsor Castle was presided over by Prince Philip compared to our own efforts to restore the Palace of Westminster, Baroness Evans of Bowes Park and I were very soon distracted as we sought to defend the indefensible. A happy memory for me is going to Sandringham for Privy Council 1 January, with log fires burning and the Queen's corgis pottering around. I recall the Queen saying what a very busy Christmas she'd had, and I suggested, well, at least her family don't need to pause Christmas lunch for the Queen's speech, at which she told me they most certainly did. As for all of us, her family would pause lunch and watch the Queen's speech, and Princess Charlotte had run over to the TV screen and said, look, there's Gangan. Very heartwarming. At each of the audiences, it would strike me anew that Privy Council meetings were just one of the many daily duties of the Queen, and that her cheerfulness and her twinkling eyes were always a constant. Truly, she was a monarch who put the comfort of others above herself, and she never faltered in her promise to spend her life devoted to service. And as we've prayed every day sitting in this place that Queen Elizabeth I may always incline to thy will and walk in thy way, so I believe we can now pray with confidence that after this life she may attain everlasting joy and felicity through Jesus Christ our Lord. Queen Elizabeth II spent her life building relationships in our nation, our Commonwealth and across the world. In her achievements we can all take comfort and know that as the crown passes to our new King, we will have the example of her legacy to unite us in loyal allegiance to her successor, King Charles III. God save the King.